Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Kiodiekin, and today I got a special guest with me. He goes by King64. He's a modder. He's an Arcade1up modder. He's always in the community. And we've been talking briefly for the past few weeks. We got a few things planned together for the channel where we're going to do some competition. But he's an interesting guy. He currently has about 150 subs or so on his YouTube account, but he's an overall nice guy. I believe he's from New Jersey. And so,
New York actually, but I got love for New Jersey.
Oh, all right, man. Well, yeah, I just wanted to bring him on the channel because I love talking to interesting people. So I know it's been a while since I've done any type of chat session since I used to meet with the Wolf of Gaming and Super Dimensional. So definitely starting this back up again. So King, man, how's it going? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So what's up? Thank you for having me on. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I mean, I love the hobby. I'm a hardcore video gamer, just like you are. I follow those groups, the unofficial pages, Arcade1up, your RetroPie group, which is also a great group. I love gaming, man. I love the Arcade1up. Anything gaming, I'm down for. I'm a gaming enthusiast, so I love my fighting games. We had a few good sessions the other night, so that was awesome, and I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Oh, cool, man. That was definitely fun. So what are your favorite games? Like, what do you like to do? As far as tinkering, modding, and like, how did you find out about Arcade1up, and what's your stance on the whole thing about what's going on in the community?
Well, I mean, when they came out like 2 years ago, the Street Fighter machine, and I heard about it, it definitely hit the nostalgia bone. I was like, man, I gotta get that. And little did I know that once I got the first machine, it opened the doors, the gateway into all these awesome fan groups on Facebook and all these YouTube channels spawning from Arcade1up. I do have the Street Fighter cabinet. That was my first cabinet. I love Street Fighter. I lost countless of quarters back in the day. I love the fighting games, Tekken, you name it. We spoke about this before, like WWE, No Mercy. It's like one of the best wrestling games. So I definitely have a collection where I go from retro to modern. I enjoy modding the cabinet. I got into that hobby, and I'm actually in the middle of it, putting more consoles into a cabinet. I know some people think that's a sin, but I like to think that every console has their arcade titles that would be better off on an arcade setup. So those are the kind of games that I want to put in a cabinet.
That's church, man. That's what I've been saying before. The Xbox 360 is probably my best overall gaming experience device. Not even the Xbox One, because a lot of the games that are on the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, you're not going to get on the Xbox One marketplace, and a lot of the games have been discontinued.
Yeah, unfortunately. I wish there was some games I would have got, but I didn't know we would end up at this point, man. At the time, I missed out on the Simpsons arcade. I know you have it.
Yeah.
and now I'm livid because I'm like, damn, I should have bought it back then. However, I was stubborn. I had so many, just like everybody, we have so many ways to play this game.
Right.
So I was like, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'll have friends over play Simpsons. And, I wish I would have got it online. That's all I got to say about that one. But I'm happy with the X-Men, and you can't get that anywhere. And Marvel vs. Cap 2, it's crazy, like, the amount of games that got delisted.
Oh, yeah.
I got a good fair share, so I'm happy with my library on 360. And I agree with you, the 360... Man, I love that system. Like, at the time, I actually enjoyed it over the PS3. For me, it was definitely the era where Microsoft was getting it right, and Sony had to play catch-up. And I know towards the end, I've heard it sales-wise, PS3 eventually surpassed it. But honestly, I think 360 is in everybody's heart in that era.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so many games.
Yeah.
So many games for it.
Yeah, you know the thing is, when all those games were coming out on Xbox Live Marketplace, and if you guys aren't familiar, you guys can check out one of my previous videos about the license transfer. And you know, you have X-Men, you have Simpsons, you got Ninja Turtles, you got Turtles in Time. That one was a remix, wasn't the original. You also had Double Dragon, you had Afterburner, you still have Pac-Man and Centipede. I believe those are still available. Golden Axe, but there are so many games that they were releasing, and the only game that escaped or they could not capture or release to the Xbox Live Marketplace, and I commented about that a little bit earlier today, was the WWF Wrestlefest. That was that was supposed to release on the Xbox Live Marketplace back in, I think, around summer or so, or August of 2011. And it's very hard to find any pictures or remnants of it, but you can do a search and still find some of the Xbox Live achievements for that game online. I believe there was a total of 12 achievements that you guys can find and research it in. Microsoft was the last company to hold a license for that game. So
I did see when you posted pictures for it. It looked pretty good. It looked like it was capitalizing on the Attitude Era. I just wonder how it would play. But did it come out for the? Was it playable at one point for like the iPhone?
That was a different version. That was like a remix or remastered version. But the one the Xbox Live Marketplace they were going to release was the original WrestleFest game. They had all the original characters, all the original titles. The only difference was it was online playable for 4 people.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Upscale to HD. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, I love my Pi, I love my computer and everything else, but you can't get retro games upscaled unless you're playing on a Xbox 360 with a lot of the titles. And of course, I know the PS3 had their number of titles that they had with their marketplace, but for the most part, most of them were on Xbox 360.
Yeah, and I think at the time, you know, I mean, at the time I did fall into the whole gimmick of achievements, but Xbox was better at that time. Like Sony was like still getting the trophies down pat, but more people cared. I mean, I found that more people cared about achievements in that era.
Oh yeah.
But overall, I mean, it's cool, but hey, you know, there's so many achievements that we didn't get for Nintendo for the NES.
Yeah,
Contra.
True.
So it is what it is. You know, some people, I know quite a few people that were addicted to it. So to each his own.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I noticed that there's like a little uproar with the WrestleFest and then having petitions floating around in social media to try to get Arcade1up to bring that cabinet. I think it would do great, but I don't know if it's likely to happen because there's so many wrestlers that were on that game that are no longer with us.
Well, yeah, so, and that brings up another point. I know there's been talks about licensing and getting all the characters, but I don't think it would be too hard or a problem considering that Microsoft had the license to do it back in 2011. And I know the biggest hurdle at the time, I think this was before Ultimate Warrior had his falling out with the WWF or WWE, because he had his own license agreement as far as his likeness. So that's why the Ultimate Warrior was never in any of the wrestling games with the WWF at the time, was because he had a lawsuit or something going on, and he had creative control over his own character. So
yeah, I heard about that. He has his own crazy story. I know I've heard he legally changed his name to Ultimate Warrior at one point. Right?
Yeah, his real name was Warrior.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm no licensing expert at all, but we can make some speculations. Why not, for the fun of it? But I would think it'd be easier to make now because there's no competition like WCW, where the wrestlers are flying to another organization like that. So, I mean, maybe it could happen. If it does, it will definitely sell. But which wrestling games would you put on it? I mean, we're not just gonna buy it for one game. I mean, especially when you can mod it and put as many as you want.
True. I mean, you could put WWF WrestleFest, And I do know that there were several other wrestling games around that time period.
We could go with WrestleMania.
Yeah, you could also go WrestleMania. Yeah. It's kind of hard for me because I know WWF No Mercy was the best wrestling game ever. So, and it's ironic that when you actually if you look on IGN or one of those other websites, when they go down the top 10 list of wrestling games all time, and that game No Mercy is actually ranked at the top. So, but
that is like the standard. Like that's number one. I mean, in my books, like what they did with what was those games that were coming out on the PlayStation, like the SmackDown series.
Oh yeah.
And that never surpassed No Mercy, in my opinion.
Yeah, because No Mercy, you had all the characters, all the unlockables, all the moves you can do. I mean, and it sucks that game wasn't online playable or anything, but it's. Yeah. I mean, they could put In Your House on there, the other wrestling game. So.
Yeah, I remember that, but then you would have those people come out the woodworks and say that was never an arcade, because I remember the In Your House was like a PlayStation exclusive, or not PlayStation exclusive, sorry, excuse me, but a console exclusive, because it was on the Sega Saturn.
Well, yeah, there were a couple of, I can't think of the names of them off the top of my head, where it had like Bret Hart and Doink and the rest of them in there. Those were in the arcade.
Yeah, that's WrestleMania arcade.
Okay, that one is WrestleMania. Okay.
Yeah, that was cool. The one with Doink and Bam Bam Bigelow, Undertaker. I remember that well. That was really cool. Yeah, that would be great to have those two games on it. But I don't think they could probably get away with another arcade with two games on it, right, as long as there's 4 players. Because look at Turtles. You only got 2 games on it.
True, but at this point in time, if you're Arcade1up, you're thinking about space. Okay, yes, that's their first cabinet that's 4 players, but then you're saying, okay, well, how many more customers do we really want to sell this to that would want to buy a 4-player machine with only 2 games on it, for not for the sake of interest, but for the sake of space? Then you would think a little bit, give it a little bit more attention in terms of marketing.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, right now, space-wise, I have 3 cabinets, and I have a partycade. I look at the partycade as 2 cabinets in one. It saves me a lot of space. But right now, it's like, if I get another cabinet, I would have to start a new game room, so I'm not in a rush to do that right now.
Oh, definitely.
That's why I'm happy with modding and just get my fix that way.
Okay. All right, guys. So you guys have been listening in. We're gonna move on to another subject. We're gonna talk about the new Arcade1up NBA Jam cabinet. Now, for those of you guys who are maybe new to the whole thing, the NBA Jam cabinet is going to be Wi-Fi capable, and apparently, I believe they did some tests, or you could play online at CES over Wi-Fi. But for those of you guys who are not familiar, I believe Scott, the owner of Tastemakers and of Tastemakers, said that it would be a peer-to-peer connection. It won't be using servers. So for those of you guys who are not familiar, peer-to-peer means it's a direct connection from you to someone else. And for those of you who have played some games online like Xbox 360 or maybe some of the other games online where they don't have servers, that could be a little bit of a hassle, especially factoring in distance, because peer-to-peer operates off of your upload and your download and the other person's upload and download. And one of the reasons why I invited King on here is because we actually played a few nights ago on Xbox Live. We were playing X-Men, and I think we were playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And so he didn't believe me at first. So I'm in California, and he's in on the East Coast. He's over in New York. And he was hosting, but I had probably a 0.2, 0.5 millisecond delay from the time I would hit a button and I would see reaction on the screen. And so that's typically not an issue if you're playing a fighting game or a beat 'em up game. But if you're playing like a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or a fighting game or a basketball game where you have to have fast reactions to say, hey, I pressed my button, is actually doing it, as opposed to waiting for like a delay, that could come into play. So, King, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna, unfortunately, because I remember, I love Halo, by the way, so I'm just gonna throw this in here. All the Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, you name it. But the point being, I'm bringing that in because it reminds me of back when we used to play Halo. If the person had host, you had an advantage. So it was like, oh, you're just host, man. That's why you killed me. That's why you killed me. So I mean, if you're okay to deal with that criticism, then it's fine. I mean, it was playable. We did switch off on host, and it was like that on both sides of the coin. I think we still had fun with it. I think ultimately, I mean, when Arcade1up comes with it, I don't think it's gonna be smooth at all. You know, they'll probably. I mean, I don't mean to bash Arcade1up. I've mentioned this before on the forums. I have like a love/hate relationship with them. And to be honest, like right now, their customer service is not up to par. So I mean, they just have to prove themselves. I mean, I'm willing to have, I'm willing to give them a shot and try it. But I don't think it's gonna be an easy task. I mean, you still have these professionals that's been online playing games online for years,
right,
and they still haven't got it down. I mean, to me, the best online video game service is Xbox Live.
Right.
PlayStation is finally caught up. You know that it's like it's almost comparable. I still edge it to Microsoft, but that's their thing. That's in their DNA.
Right.
You know, PCs. So, but look at Nintendo. Nintendo Switch struggles with online service. So you can't tell me, like, I find it hard to believe that a complete stranger is going to come in and do better than Nintendo.
Yeah, the issue with the online connectivity, it does have is ups and downs. So if you guys aren't too familiar with, a few years ago, EA stopped supporting service for a lot of their games. One of those games being one of my favorites, which is Command & Conquer Generals. They totally got rid of their servers. So the community had to find their own servers and create their own forums, and which erased all the original stats and stuff. So yeah, you can't play Command & Conquer Generals anymore originally as it's intended because the servers are gone. Now, the good thing that Arcade1up is doing is that they are allowing peer-to-peer play. And with peer-to-peer play, that means the service will never end. I mean, it's only depending upon your internet connection. If they were going through a server, then that could be subject to end however long they decided to pay for it. That's why I know with a lot of the games they have out there, if you say some of the older ones, if they don't have any servers, then the game is pretty much dead. But I'm hoping that some of their techs did a cross-country test, like from Oregon to Florida, or from Texas to North Dakota, or LA to New York, or Canada to Florida or southern parts of the United States. Because if this is a peer-to-peer game setup, I wonder how that's going to affect people who are getting their cabinets in Canada, the UK, or even Australia with that peer-to-peer connection with no servers.
Yeah, I hope, maybe one day they can move into dedicated servers. I actually have friends like that don't even play fighting games online because of the lag.
Right.
Like, if we're gonna play fighting games, they gotta be local. So I gotta wait till either I go to his house or they come to my house to play some fighting games because they don't want to deal with the lag. And unfortunately, most of the fighting games don't have like dedicated servers, so you're gonna have a slight lag.
Yeah, and I think too, also for any listeners out there, there is a difference between lag versus delay. So even King and I, when we were playing Xbox a few weeks ago, we weren't lagging. There was no lag. And then we switched off because at first he didn't even believe me. I was like, dude, it's like 5 seconds, 5 milliseconds behind. He was like, yeah, dude, whatever. And then we switched. I was hosting and he was like, oh yeah, now I see it. I was like, yeah, exactly. So so that was there's a delay. And for those of you out there who have the Toy Shock pinball, where you guys have experienced that delay, where you press the flipper and then there's like a little delay. That's what we're talking about. It's not instantaneous, and that typically can happen with peer-to-peer play.
You press jump, and then it moves, and then it'll jump 5 seconds later. That's what happens.
Right, you basically got to press jump like 5.5 milliseconds before it happens. But it happens in fast action games, and it can get a little frustrating too when you're in competitive play.
Yeah, you definitely your timing is completely different when you deal with it. But yeah, if you want to play competitively, that's not the way to play. But if it's something that you just want to just hang out and chill and just like smash buttons, then go for it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, so let me ask you this: what are your views on Atgames? Where do you see them going? What do you think about them? Just tell me a little bit about what you think about what they're doing right now.
I had some. I made like an infamous meme, so some of you guys might remember that with Randy Orton becoming an Arcade1up teaming to be the Legend Killer and giving an RKO to the Ultimate Legends Cabinet.
Oh yeah, that was you. I remember.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm the type of person that just likes to joke around and just I'm a very free spirited person. I like trolling. I like people that have thick skin, because sometimes my humor can get a little crazy, and But other than that, back on topic with Atgames. To be honest, I've already invested in Arcade1up so much that I didn't give it a second look when it came out. That and it goes further back with all the drama that they did with, I believe it was the immortal John Hancock,
right?
With the whole bait and switch of the Pac-Man ROM and stuff like that. Going further back when they were coming out with the Genesis machines, their versions of the Genesis machine were like 70 plus games, and like 45 of them were just like crap, like just made up games.
Right. Okay.
So I actually bought a Genesis from Atgames when they first hit the scene with that stuff, and I bought it for like my sister for like Christmas or something. And I was like, I'm just gonna give it a shot. Played with it, and to be honest, I felt burnt. I felt horrible giving that as a Christmas gift, and I apologized. Yeah, I mean, so their brand was off the bat when it came out. Their brand was really hurt. Like their reputation was shattered from all the backlash that they were getting. So to me, it's like, okay, I did keep an open mind, and I started watching reviews on it, and it looks cool, it looks promising. But my thing is, it's like I said, I already invested in Arcade1up. You can mod the Arcade1up machine to do everything that Atgames does. And another thing is that, to be brutally honest, the Atgames machine is. Can I curse on this? Are we online?
Yeah, let's try to keep it. Yeah, let's try to keep it PG for the kids out there.
I keep it PG. I'm sorry. So Atgames is just horrendous looking. It's ugly.
Ooh, okay.
I can't. When I buy. Well, the thing I love about the Arcade1up machines is that it takes you back to the 90s when arcades, where you remember these artworks that they have, and it's art. It's literally art. Even if you just leave it there, it looks nice. I don't find the Atgames appealing. Like, it doesn't look good. I mean, I definitely, if I was to get a machine, I would definitely get a kit to change the look of it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not knocking anybody that has it. You got to get your gaming fix to each his own. Everything you can do in the Atgames, you pretty much can do in an Arcade1up machine. So it's all up on your set. It's all up to you on your setup. Right. If you enjoy the machine, more power to you. Unfortunately, I can't. I mean, if I had all the money in the world, I would probably own that and many more things. Right. So I can't hate on anybody that owns it. But my opinion, yeah, it's not for me, and I wouldn't mind going to somebody's house to play it, but it's not coming to my house.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I actually love the look of the Atgames cabinet. I mean,
sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks nice. I mean, if you look at it, it has a trackball, with the spinner. I mean, you have your joysticks. I'm an arm guy, and one of the things I used to hate was walking into an arcade and playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or one of the other fighting games, and I didn't have enough room to get my arm in there. And they have more than enough ample space, to feel comfortable with, two decent sized guys, standing there enjoying their own space without each other sweating on top of one another. So I mean, the aesthetics and everything, I mean, I think they did a great job. My issue with Atgames is the internals. I'm a front end guy, and one of the things that I like to do, or I've spent some time even on my channel, is focusing on how does point A to connect to point B. Because if you're in all the forums, whether you're an Arcade1up or RetroPie, people are asking, how do I get my crap to work? And so being a front end guy, having Raspberry Pis and other stuff, I see their updates. It's like they got updates for everything every week. And now they're just adding in music. I mean, to me, that's like, well, I mean, shoot, you can play music in the background on your Xbox 360 that came out back in 2005. I mean, so to me, little features like that, and you can, of course, do that through RetroPie. I mean, have music playing in the background while you're surfing through your, scrolling through your games. How come that wasn't available in launch? See, that's what I look at, and the other thing is, why is the machine so locked down in certain regards? All this, you gotta, rent some time to pay, play a game. I mean, who really cares? Like, once you sell a machine, let's let a person do whatever they want to with it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can't believe I'm kind of embarrassed. I didn't even mention this. So let me just say, I gotta apologize for a second because, I actually used the Supreme Arcade 1-up build by you, and
well, thank you.
Freaking amazing.
Oh, thank you. I try.
Dude, it's amazing, and I'm not, I have it in my house right now. When I get back on my YouTube channel, which is soon this month, you guys will see it on live stream. I'm using Kiodiekin's image, and it's amazing. And then the thing is, I change the image sometimes just to see what else is out there, but I always end up going back to your image. So I can't thank you enough for that. You just reminded me with the music. I was like, oh yeah, I listen to the music you pick all the time. I love the music on that image.
Yeah, you gotta have that feature, man. You want to have that feel. So some of the music he's talking about is obviously music that's owned by movie studios and everything else, but I did my own custom mix arcade sounds on there that I recorded at Arcade Expo. So those are our live arcade sounds that you guys can hear on that image. Yeah, and so what I wanted to do was, because I was frustrated, I couldn't find a RetroPie image that I was satisfied with. I would go through the list. I was like, well, why does this person only have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, the 2-player bootleg version that was released over in Japan, Oceania, but they don't have the 4-player version? I mean, I'm like, what the hell? Like, you don't know what kind of setup I have. So what I did was, I was like, okay, we're going to go 2 and 4-player Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 2, 4, and 6 X-Men, because I don't know what kind of setup you have. Then we're going to add in 2 different copies of games like Captain America and the Avengers, so that way you don't have to go into dip sweat settings and change whether you have 2 or 4 players. So to me, that just made sense. It just makes sense.
It did, and the fact that, what the thing I love the most about that image, and it's the littlest thing, and now I'm seeing other people trying to copy that, is the fact that you did the whole, like, Arcade 1-up background, so it looks like it came like that out of the box.
Yeah, now, actually, yeah, now that was actually made by an artist. His name is Hursty. So anybody can download that. Yeah, I didn't actually make that, but I know Hursty made his, and I think there's another guy who made Arcade 1-up theme. So yeah, props to Hursty for making that for us.
Yeah, that's amazing. That was amazing, dude.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna go back to touch on the Atgames cabinet real quick. To be fair, I have not got hands-on with it. I've only seen it online, so I might feel different when I look at it in person, versus online. One thing I noticed though on the videos is that the Atgames control, the control panel is a little, which I find weird, is a little lower than the Arcade 1-up control panel. Does that make a difference to you?
I haven't noticed that. I think that's actually about hip level or so.
Yeah, when you put it side to side, you see that the arcade one up is a little bit bigger, higher. But yeah, if you haven't noticed it, then I guess it's okay.
Well, I mean, I know Arcade One Up. I mean, if you have it on a riser, it's at a certain height, but I still don't think it's not as high as the ad games. I mean, I think the ad games, because I've seen the cabinet in person. I know it is, waist level if you're about what 6 feet or so. So it's about standard.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm 6'3", so like playing it standing arcade one up. Sometimes I don't like playing hunchback, so I go either on the stool because I have the Mortal Kombat stool, which is okay, or I'll just play standing. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked it to be a little bit taller, but at this point, I'm not gonna. The rise is fine.
Right. Yeah, it's it's a nice cabinet. My only issue is my other issue is with Atgames. They have a tough marketplace because obviously Arcade One Up is a niche for the 3/4 scale, and Atgames, their community is they're trying to squeeze in somewhere between that and Game Room Solutions and Rec Room Masters. And for me, if you ask, hey, Keo, which cabinet are you gonna give? It's no secret. I mean, I've already messaged and liked their pages and all that other stuff. Rec Room Masters, I mean, they do some exceptional work, and that's the next one that's I'm gonna have in my house.
I did look. I do know about them. I've checked out their website. It's pretty good stuff. But one thing I got to say about the Atgames cabinet too, and I think a big factor of why Arcade One Up is like really killing it, is going back to the way it looks and like grabbing the nostalgia aspect of it.
Right.
Where you feel like you're actually in an arcade. See that with the Atgames, I feel like anybody can just grab a computer and just make a do-it-yourself arcade cabinet, and you would get the same thing. You could, get MAME running on a computer, put it on your TV. I just feel like it's just no different than that. But Arcade One Up just has a different look to it that when you have visitors come over, it'll grab their attention right away.
Right. Yeah, true.
So I think, I mean, as shallow as that is, I just think it's true. Like, I'm pretty sure anybody that owns an Arcade One Up gets like countless of compliments when they have people come over that's never even seen it in person.
Yeah, because
like, wow, this is taking me back.
Yeah, it's established with that iconic feel. When you used to walk into the old arcade. And it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate because my. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's an awesome conversational piece.
True. Yeah.
I can't really say that with Atgames.
Yeah, I was talking to my nephews and we were having to talk, and it's really unfortunate because they've never had a chance to really experience that. I was telling them, I said when I first saw Ninja Turtles, it was 1989. I saw it at the bowling alley, and it was like, oh my God, they actually have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game here. And this was before IGN. You didn't have Facebook, you didn't have YouTube. The only way you found out that an arcade or any area had a new arcade system was if you just walked in and happened to see it. And so I went back to school that day, and man, I was telling everybody about it, and they couldn't wait to see it or even play it. So, that's what I kind of missed about that time period, was being able to enjoy the arcade in that way.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, it's like, I remember the pizzerias, the laundromats, the bowling alley, and that was Ninja Turtles or Street Fighter, and then it's like, just to have that, capture that moment and put it into your household is amazing.
Right, definitely.
At least that's how I see it. So, I mean, other than the actual gameplay and stuff, we can do that anywhere, and then that's the thing that separates the two.
True.
But yeah, I mean, the Atgames Legend Cabinet is, out of the box, is far more powerful than Arcade One Up. I can't deny that.
Right.
You have way more features with it. So I think it's perfect for somebody that wants to mod their machine right off the bat because it's already done for you.
Right. And
especially if you don't have the skills to do it and you don't want to learn, you just want something out the box to play everything, then that's the arcade for you.
True. And to be fair, I know ETA Prime, he did a teardown of the Atgames cabinet, and that board is that Atgames is using is about equivalent to a Raspberry Pi 3B, and we truly don't know what the specs are of the PCB that our Arcade1up is using. So we don't know how much RAM or the gigahertz or the processing speed of what they're currently using. So, but yeah, I definitely get what you're coming from. So.
Yeah, I did watch that ETA Prime video as well, and that was pretty interesting. Him opening that. As far as Arcade1up, I mean, it's hit or miss with the PCB technology they're using.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, a perfect example, we was talking about it earlier, since I own a Partycade. I'm going through that crisis, the Arcade1up crisis of almost every Partycade has a horrible lag and an embarrassment to Galaga intro music, where the stutter hurts. It makes your ears bleed listening to the Galaga intro music on that system. And you know, the customer service, I've been ongoing on and off with Arcade1up. I've literally opened up tickets back to back saying that you're neglecting this old ticket. Can you check it again? And I've been that annoying customer. You know, being very patient and perseverant. I'm trying to get them to send me a new PCB. I have no problems modding the Partycade into a vertical image. I've thought about that. But the thing is, right now, I still want to invest more money into my Street Fighter cabinet mod. So I'm like, I don't see that happening no time soon. So if they send me a PCB, I might keep it like that the way it's intended. I don't know, but I'm not going to keep it with the way at its current state. I won't keep it that way forever. That's for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully they get things worked out for you and stuff, man.
Yeah, I think Arcade1up is also looking into the cheaper parts to make a profit, man. So I don't think any of their PCBs would be that strong, you know, bulked up.
Right.
Really. I mean, when you think about it, almost any game that they have right now could run on any smartphone.
Well, true. Yeah, that's definitely true. All right, guys, I think that's about it for us today. I definitely want to thank King64 for coming over and spending some time with us. And if you guys want to check out, what's that?
It's Super King 64. I should have said that earlier, but
yeah,
that's my channel.
Yeah, Super King 64. You guys, there'll be a link in the description down below if you guys want to holler at him or even consider subscribing to his channel. I don't think he's not a full-time YouTuber, but he does have some interesting stuff over there. In fact, if you guys don't know who he is, he's another guy who's already converted his PS3 and Xbox 360 into his Arcade1up cabinet. So feel free to check him out. He has an interesting diagram. I hook up my PS3 and Xbox 360 a specific way using a Chronos Max or Titan 2, but he has a way to hook up your PS3. He has the diagram on how you guys can wire it specifically to your PS3 with your Arcade1up. So, Super King, anything else, man, before we let everybody go?
So yeah, you know, I have been on hiatus for a while on YouTube, but I plan to make videos this month, and I'm really happy for this interview because it kind of motivates me to do so. YouTube is a hobby for me. I would say I'm a part-timer. I haven't done a YouTube video in close to a year or about a year, but I plan to change that. It's not a living. It's a hobby for me.
Yep.
Maybe one day I could be a lucky guy to say it's a living. But I also, you know, right now I did put up the diagram. If you want, Kiodiekin, you can add it to the link for the guys if they want to go that route. I know you use Chronos, and that is great. Right now, I started with that diagram, but then I upgraded to the Brooks. So, you know, it's just a lot of ways to get it done. You just got to find what works for you. I definitely want to use Chronos on my next mod because I love the button mapping feature. I think that's awesome. So look, man, I give you nothing but props for the Titan and your Chronos. You know, right now I'm happy with the Brooks. So to each his own. You know, we don't have to. You know, we can have fun with it and we can still play together, and it's all good. I definitely plan to get it on my MK cap one day, and I'm gonna have to really analyze all your tutorial videos on that.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. All right, if anybody's in the community and you guys ever want to just chat it up, maybe I'll have you guys on the show. But I believe in reaching out to the average consumer and getting their thoughts and opinions on things, because those are the true voices of the community. So I will see you guys next time. I got some other videos in store, and we will catch you guys next time.
All right. Thanks for having me. All right. Peace, guys.
Bye.